June the 1st, 2023. You're looking at current images over the Gulf of Mexico. It is 4:09 p.m. Central Time, and the storm we've been watching has slowly began strengthening. And at the 2 p.m. report this afternoon, it had went from a 50% chance to a 70% chance of development. Now it has become Tropical Depression number 2. We'll take a look at some of that information. But here in central Mississippi, which is right in the center of the screen up at the top, we've been getting an off and on cloud cover throughout the day, a mixture of clouds and sun, really kind of keeping it cooler than it was the last few days. Got some weather coming out of Texas. And what we're looking at right in this northeastern section of the Gulf where you see the storm, it's kind of taking over the weather. But just south of there, if you look down along the Florida Peninsula and in the Florida Straits between Cuba, you've got a very high or very strong upper level wind shear in place. What they're talking about, if the storm starts to drift further to the south, it's going to get caught up in some of that shear that we're looking at, guys. And that right in this area here, again, you can see it racing up through here and actually starting to build in this area and through here. So if the storm starts to drift south, the tops are going to get torn out of it, and it will not strengthen. That would be the best case scenario. Now this is what we're seeing, 4 p.m. today, a tropical depression, very quickly going to become a tropical storm. Now at this pattern that we're seeing dropping to the south, it looks like that the Navy model from this morning, to where it showed it coming down and hitting Cuba, was the most accurate. But again, it's going from a storm through 1 p.m. Friday, then by 1 a.m. Saturday morning back to a depression. That's because more than likely, I may be right, I think I am, it's going to get into that upper level wind shear and start tearing the thing apart. It's showing that by 1 a.m. Sunday, you guys in western Cuba would be seeing the center of circulation of the depression. You'll start getting weather sooner than that. Now, we're a few days out. This could change. This is the best case scenario, even for the folks in Cuba. They're going to get wet. But getting into that wind shear may keep this thing from going from a tropical storm to a hurricane. But we just got to watch that wind shear and how this pattern continues to drop, if it continues to drop. Now, if we take a look at this, the Navy has changed their model. Now, guys, I'm going through this with you as I look at it. But this morning, the purple line, which is, if you look right here, is the Navy model. That's the purple line. It came down and dropped into Cuba right about there. But now this is showing it bouncing back up and coming through the Keys towards Miami. The other model that we look at, let's see, the Canadian model is laying in here right about there. And we see it merge right in here with the Navy model, somewhere out the dry Tortugas, and again moving northeast over Florida. So again, this has just been updated Thursday at 5 p.m. That means 14 minutes ago. That's Eastern time. It's 4:14 Central time as we're doing the video. So we're going to have to watch it, guys, just to show you what the National Hurricane Center put an average cone, and that cone will change more than likely. You've got what's the TABD model, which is this bright pink or purple. It's coming straight across central Florida, across Lake Okeechobee. You also have the AVNO model coming up into that area. But again, NavGem and the Canadian model are coming right up into, this would be southwestern tip of southern Florida, according to these models. But guys, we're going to be watching it. That's one of the main things that we do on this channel. We always have. So be careful with it. There were earlier today along Apalachicola, you had some offshore advisories. You had rip current advisories, things like that. Maybe by the storm stalling out here where it's at and starting to turn, they will lift some of that coastal watches. But you don't take your eyes off this thing overnight as far as the rip currents and the the problem with the storms along the coast is whether it's your boat in a marina or pier or if you're offshore. Be careful with that. But if it stays on that track down into Cuba, we may not see any storm watches or warnings at all along the coast of Florida. But we're going to have to wait and see. A lot going on, guys. We're keeping an eye on a lot of things. But this is a heads up on this. Be safe.